Hey, everybody, this is Jasmine Garner here with Entertaining God Magazine podcast. This is one of our first podcast episodes, and I have a special guest today, Mr. James Alford. He is founder of Kingdom Authority. He's a filmmaker, he's a minister, pastor, and he is CEO and founder of SaltFlix. SaltFlix is a new streaming service for faith-based film. And so I really wanted to get on this call with him to discuss SaltFlix and the different streaming services that are out there and how this one is set apart from the rest. And not only that, but how faith-based filmmakers and actors can be better at creating film that reaches our world around us. And so we're going to introduce Mr. James Alford now. Tell us more about yourself, Mr. James.
Hey, well, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on your podcast. And I was really blessed when you first contacted me about what you were doing in the Christian entertainment arena. So thank you so much for having me on. Um, Saltflix is a culmination of years of being involved in the Christian media arena. I just have to say, from inception of starting in ministry, I was first doing online ministry, online evangelism many years ago, and the Lord put on my heart to start putting out videos. And from there, God had me begin to learn how to edit videos, and I mean it was very simple stuff. I mean we're talking about years ago, but it was always on my heart to begin to pump out Christian quality Christian content that was a step above like your ordinary YouTube type of video, but put on productions that would be able to inspire, impact people all around the world. And so I got involved with Christian television, began to produce Christian television programming. But one thing I saw with Christian television programming was that usually when I would go on a program, the people who would contact me would be leaders of churches, ministers, or people who were very focused and into the Word of God or whatever. And I said, well, that's a good audience to minister to. I said, but man, we sure are missing a lot of people who are not going to tune in to a Christian TV program. I said, we've got to be something different. There's got to be a different way. And God kept putting it on my heart. So after a while, I kind of got into filmmaking. And me and a couple of my business partners, we developed a film that was a short film called Final Decision. And basically, this film basically told a story about a girl who got to a point in her life where she had to make a decision. And basically, this one decision would determine whether or not she would, live or whether she would literally die. And I said, man, this is a great way to reach people who wouldn't necessarily turn to a per se Christian channel and watch somebody preach, but they may watch a story that is impactful. And God began to deal with me about how through stories, similar to how Jesus did. Jesus told parables all the time, but
Yeah.
similar to how Jesus did, we could tell a story and literally transform somebody through a story, not necessarily preaching from a pulpit, but just telling them something and or showing them a story and how certain decisions resulted in certain types of things. And then God began to deal with me also about how Satan has used media. He's used stories, television programs, movies to influence people away from God. And so, at that point, I knew that, okay, this is the acute place that God desired me to be, is that, I need to be making film, television programming that could tell stories, could influence people that would lead them towards Christ or towards the things of God versus away. Um, During this whole time, though, I had in my mind, I kept saying, "Oh man, I need to have a network. I need to have a TV station," but I really couldn't grasp what that meant. I remember one time praying to God about it, and the Lord told me, He said, "I didn't call you to have a TV station." And I was like, "Okay, well, when you hear God say something like that, He's like, okay, well, I'm not doing that." He said, "I didn't call you to do a TV station." I said, "Okay, well, I'm gonna go back to preaching and making my movies and stuff like that." But then as time went on, God began to deal with me what He meant by that. He was saying that my primary calling was not to just have a network or a station. My primary calling was to preach the gospel and to transform people and bring them to Christ. The
Mm.
vehicle, um, needed to be some type of network, but the calling was to influence people and lead them to Christ. And so that's in a nutshell, without me spending several hours talking about it. In a nutshell, that's how I got to the place where I knew that SaltFlix had to be made.
Mm. Wow. Okay. I love the name of it. Did the Lord share that name with you, or you kind of brainstormed with your team?
No, it literally came to me at the beginning of the pandemic. We had been having services all year. We had the year planned out. We didn't think anything like this was going to happen. Like I said, the whole idea and the concept of creating a movie and television streaming platform had been there for several years, but I'd never gotten to go on it. I knew
Hmm.
God wanted to use film and television to impact people and transform them, but I never got the release to go out and do it. And so when the pandemic happened, um, we decided to shut the church down for a season until the pandemic was over. The Lord said, "It's time now." I'm like, "What?" He was like, and all of a sudden the name just came to me. It was like I was sitting there, and the name just came. He said, "SaltFlix,"
Mm.
and I said, "Okay," and I went and looked it up. I was like, "Wow, it's available." And so I grabbed it, and man, we've just been running full steam ever since.
Yes. Wow, that's amazing. So, like, there are a lot of different faith-based streaming I've seen out there. Um, some are, not as big as others. So, but what would set yours apart from streaming the other services in general, or just, faith-based streaming?
And and that's a question I get a lot, from people. But my mindset has never been to, even though I do feel like we're different, and I guess I'll answer this question in two separate parts. In a way, I do feel like there's a difference. Um, my goal has never been to outdo another
Hmm.
Christian streaming platform. Um, my target is Netflix. And of course, as you see in the news right now, Netflix is, you know, and I've been knowing this for a while. Netflix has kind of it's corrupted a lot of homes with their content. Now they may have some content on there that's not bad or not does not lead people away from Christ or just bring things into the home that should not be in there. But they have a lot of content on there that influences people who watch it to think the wrong way about family, the wrong way about Christ. There's literally no filter on it. Even more so, back in the day when you watch television, there were certain rules and regulations and things they would not put on regular television. So even if your child sat and watched a TV program, you could probably be guaranteed there weren't going to be cursing. You could be guaranteed there wasn't going to be any nudity. You could be guaranteed that certain subject matter was just not going to be aired on a regular TV channel. But what Netflix has done is they've kind of skipped around that. So now any program you click on, you don't know what may happen. You don't know what might be said. You don't know what your child may be exposed to. There's literally no filter there. And so our target is that we provide a solution, not just here in America, but a worldwide solution. Because I think there's a lot of people out there like this, where people can get on, they can watch quality content but not have to worry about their 10-year-old, their 15-year-old, their 5-year-old, their 3-year-old being exposed to content. I mean, I'm every time my son would click on Netflix, I'm sitting there the whole time like nervous that something's gonna
Oh.
happen
Yeah.
that's gonna influence him in the middle of the program. This something we don't want him to see or hear, and you just don't know. So a platform people could go and they could watch good content, but not have to worry about those types of things, and and be able to impact people around the world. Now, as
Mhm.
far as how we separate ourselves from other Christian streaming platforms, I think our goal is to be, of course, faith and family friendly, but also we desire to be multicultural. I see on a lot of platforms, they may give. a section to black people, or they may give a section to this person or whatever. We're not looking to give a section to any particular race. We want all the content to be more. We want it to look like what heaven looks like, um,
Mm,
and that's multicultural. That's people around the world, acting and films that just exalt Christ, or films that are impactful and family friendly throughout the entirety of the platform. That's our goal, and that's one way I feel like we're separating ourselves. And then also we're international, meaning that we have films over there from Africa, we have films on there that are from Canada, we have films from Australia, we have films from India, and we have so many more that we're still reviewing. We're just on the initial stages of the platform, so we have so many more films that we're reviewing from different parts of the world that are going to be on the platform. So people will be on there, be able to get on there and watch international content that's good for the family, and also is Christian based from around the world. And so that's how we're different.
hmm And I like that because that is true. I have seen different sections that were, well, here are the black owned films here, and then the rest of it is just regular. So, yeah, I've never even thought about it like that when it comes to streaming, how we, in our minds and in everything we do, we try to section things off. And the kingdom is not like that. It's definitely for all people. So I
That's
love
right.
that about it.
Yeah,
That kind of answered my next question when I was like, I said, um, why was there a need for more Christian streaming? And you kind of answered that by saying that faith and family friendly, like someone should be able to let their 10-year-old watch a movie or TV show without being afraid
yes,
of what they're going to see. And so that I would say there definitely is a need for that. Even someone who may not even believe the same beliefs we have, they can trust a service made by a faith-based filmmaker.
that's right.
Should be able to at least.
Right.
um, do you want to add anything to that? Why is there a need? I feel like you answered it, but you can feel free to add anything more.
Interesting question. When I first started church, um, I asked God, why another church? And you know what the Lord told me? He said, because my people are suffering. What I understood from that was that, you can never do enough good for God. Um, I look at this platform as, just a part and a piece of trying to do good for the sake of God. Um, but by no means is it a completion of the good we can do through media and film for people around the world. And so I say, as much as we can add um, to the body of Christ through media, through film, through platforms, I say bring it on. I mean, Netflix has got um, probably 50 to 60 million, maybe more than that, maybe 100 million subscribers around the world. I think the top Christian streaming platform maybe only has like 200,000. So there's so many people out there to reach that we have not reached. And so I think SaltFlix will do a good job of just grabbing on to that pie out there of people who want to see our content.
Mhm. Yeah, that's good. I like that. Why under the church? So why do we do more? We can never do enough. Um, that's pretty good. I like that. I had to jot that down. um, so what made you want to include music videos? Now that is something that's definitely different. Besides the multicultural aspect, I've never seen a service, even in like Netflix, they don't even do like music videos with their service. So what made you want to include that?
Well, we have a number of short films on the platform, and short films are anywhere from 3, 4 minutes up to 20, 30 minutes, and they're filmed to tell a story. A music video, in essence, they may be singing, but it's telling a story, still telling a story. There's a story to be conveyed. Any media that has a story to be conveyed, we're interested in it. And music is just one of those mediums to where there's a story to be told. There's a level of influence that can be had in people's lives through watching music videos. Um, I know a lot of times with artists and stuff, they focus on the audio side, because that's mainly what it's for, is audio. But those videos tell a story, and those videos impact people. And so we even have testimonies on the platform of just a few, but we want more of people just talking about what God did for them, like interviews of people's testimonies. So we want anything that's impactful that can be watched on the TV screen. We want that on the platform, as long as it's in particular formats or whatever. But yeah, I mean, music is transformational. I mean, and so to be able to have it in a video format, I think is great.
Yes. And I definitely love it because, I help promote gospel artists and musicians. And so that definitely is a great opportunity for them to get that story told to a different audience than the other platforms that are available to them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So people are watching movies, they're watching short films, they have the kids on there, and then hey, look at this artist here. Wow, that video is awesome. Wow, the music has really blessed me. It gives an opportunity for them to get to know these musicians and their singing. Yeah.
Mm.
So I think my goal is to have where people have I know people a lot of times only do videos with a few of their songs or whatever. But my goal is to have artists with, like, I have a couple of artists that have multiple music videos. Almost every song they've done, they have a music video to go with it, and it just fits so good on the platform because you really get to know that artist. You really get to know their music, and also you get in each song. There's a story. There's a message in there. They can really impact people.
Mhm. For sure. That people, like you said, Satan has done a lot, and he does so much with music as well, so much. And so I love that this includes the musical aspect of what the message that the Lord wants to bring, whether that's through worship. And the young people love rap and they love all the dancing from TikTok. And so this will give them a way to have a healthier music that they can listen to.
Yes, yes.
And okay, so we know you're a filmmaker and you produced several films. What other films have you produced? I know you mentioned one already.
The two main films that I produced are Final Decision and The Light in the Darkness. Light in the Darkness was my first feature film. It's a documentary about spiritual warfare. Actually, have two other films in production as we speak. One is The Light in the Darkness 2, which is a focus on African witchcraft, and
Mm.
and the impact it has against the church. But also another movie called False Prophet. Those are actually in production as we speak. So two completed films, two on the way, and then a whole bag of them down the road next year and the year after that.
Nice.
And then also have produced a Christian television program called Kingdom Authority, and we have a lot more to produce on that also, which is similar to my podcast, the Kingdom Authority podcast. It's a similar type format.
Okay. Wow, it sounds good. I went to your website. I loved it. It's just so much just rich content there. So I'm excited to see more films and more content that you guys are going to put out. And so, since you're in this industry and you've been around for a while, the Lord has spoken to you about a lot of things. What do you feel faith-based film industry is lacking, if anything at all?
I would say, the heart is there, the passion is there, the story, the message is there. I think funding funding is one of our biggest issues. Um, a lot of times secular media puts money behind things that they perceive that sell, or that the audience wants. Um, and so I think with some of these newer Christian films that have come out, and how well they've sold, they're starting to see that there is a market, there's a place for uh, Christian films and faith based films. But I think a lot of the dollars have always gone towards other type films because they perceive that's what the audiences want. And so Christian films tend to be starved of cash, starved of money and talent. Well, money a lot of times brings talent to help produce the film. So if they had more funding, and that's one of the things I kind of want to work on with SaltFlix, was to provide outside of the compensation we give for streaming on the platform, but have some other type of funding model that could help to fund people's individual products, like maybe each artist have their own page or something like that where people can go and donate and support their work directly.
Mm.
Um, because, like I said, they're just starved of financial resources to make the products at a certain level that can get more traction in the marketplace.
That's good. I'm glad you mentioned that. I wasn't expecting to hear the funding part. That's very like a logistical issue that I can see we do definitely have. And many filmmakers are independent and they have to either go in debt or figure out, how to campaign, fundraise and things like that. So yeah, and people will put money to what they believe in,
Right.
and we know that,
Well,
mhm, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say it's so we could say Christian films need more technical work, or they need more quality production, but all that's fixed with money. So
Mhm.
I look at money as the top end for some of the other issues we see in Christian films, and even actors. Actors are very expensive. So people complain that the actors aren't as strong as in some of the secular films, or the production is not as strong. Well, that's all solved by having the money to be able to pay the right actors and pay for the right talent to be able to make the programming what you want it to be.
Mm. Wow.
And then also distribution. I think distribution is another issue also. Um, when I was trying to get my film out, The Light in the Darkness,
Mm.
um, I couldn't get in contact with any Christian distributors. Nobody was interested in carrying my product, and I thought that was really interesting. I mean, it had the number one Derek Prince Ministries, probably the most well-known spiritual warfare organization on the earth. 40, 50 years in ministry, millions of books sold around the world. Literally, the president of Derek Prince Ministries was on the film. Another gentleman, Ivory Hopkins, he's well known all around the world for the ministry of deliverance and spiritual warfare. So, two of the top names in spiritual warfare came together. One of them, both of them had never been on a documentary before to talk about spiritual warfare, which is a topic that's well known around the world. And none of the Christian distributors responded or wanted to distribute the product. And I said, wow. I said, man, it's really hard to get distribution for your content. Put it on Amazon, and I think it's
Mhm.
approaching 40, 50 reviews on it. I mean, of course, thousands of people watched it, but I mean, we're sitting at almost 5 stars on the movie. On our Facebook page, we have six some thousand followers, 5 stars all down the board with people who've watched it.
Mhm.
But I couldn't get any distribution for it. Why is that? I think a lot of Christian films run into that brick wall as far as getting their stuff seen. Not that it's not good, it's just that people aren't distributing it for them. And so
Yeah.
SaltFlix is one of those places where we really, really have a heart for the independent filmmaker, and we want to help them get their projects seen and really, really received by the body of Christ. Because there are people out there that want to see their work. It's just that nobody's putting it in front of them, and that's what
Mhm.
SaltFlix is doing.
Yeah. That wow. Funding and distribution.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that as being because what I see a lot of people do, they would submit to tons of film festivals to try to get um, their product seen,
Hmm.
and distribution has always never seemed to come through for many of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the uh, that's the burden. You go out and spend. Some people spend a lot of money, $100,000, 60, 70, two, $300,000 on these films, and to let it sit in a festival and never get distributed, never get seen. For some people, they're not even trying to make their money back. They just want people to see it. Um, People struggle with that, and they'll it'll cause you as a filmmaker. I'm a filmmaker. I'm not just a streaming platform. I'm a filmmaker also. Um, I know how it feels to put your heart and soul. For me, spiritual warfare is like one of my core giftings, my core skill sets. Spiritual warfare, discernment, those types of things. I teach about a lot of that, especially on my podcast. Um, to take your gift, the thing that God has given you to bless the body of Christ with, and nobody wants to help you get it out there, that's harsh, and you could take that to
Yeah.
any other subject matter or gifting. But for the Christian filmmaker, when they have something they're passionate about, God has given them, and they're trying to get it to people, and nobody wants to look at it, that can crush you.
Mm.
And so I have a heart for that. That's why we have filmmakers in Africa who produce content. Nobody, you think it's hard to distribute stuff in America. Africa, there is no distribution. That doesn't exist. You just have your friends and family come over and watch it on your computer. You know,
Yeah.
so to be able to give that type of visibility to these filmmakers who have poured their life and soul into this work, what God has given them, that's what we're all about.
Yes. Wow. And we thank you for making SaltFlix because yeah, that distribution, funding, fundamental and logistical issues that I think it takes special type of people to come up with those avenues for filmmakers because you guys are creators, and so you need someone on the opposite end that can take that creation somewhere.
Right, right, and
Yeah.
and and just help them with the pieces. And no one person is a force within themselves. Um, we all need each other, and we need to come. That's why there's the body of Christ. It's not you as a Christian or me as a Christian all by myself, and God called me to do everything. No, we call it as a body to come together and work as an organization, or organize to be able to press forward the cause of Christ. And so there needs to be people on all levels of media to help produce things or to provide avenues in order to build. And Christians for so long were just didn't want to mess with media, and everything's the devil when it first comes out. Television's the devil. Movies are the devil. You know, and so we got so behind on media, all while the world was going out and producing films, producing this, producing that, and literally transforming. I think film and television is literally transforming the morals of this country and across the world. And it's still doing it. It's literally shifting people away from Christ, shifting people into unrighteous lifestyles. I mean, look at some of the biggest stars, even in the African American community. Look at some of the biggest stars. They're nuts. They're fools. You know,
Mm.
and they a lot of times they have taken the people who actually represent something whole and good, and they kind of dismiss them. Um, and so there's a need for Christians to come into the 21st century, begin to compete or dominate the space that God has given them.
Mm.
And when I go to a ministry page and when I go to a Christian filmmakers page, I feel like I'm in two different worlds that aren't connected. But we're all on the same team. We're all working towards the same thing. One may be preaching, one may be making a film, but they all work to the glory of God and for the progression of His kingdom. And that's one of the issues I've seen is that you know, like I said, me being the CEO of SaltFlix, I've always been known as Apostle James for the most part. I have a church, I have a ministry, I teach on this, I write on this. It's a whole different space for me to be seen as a owner of a Christian quote entertainment platform. Some
Yeah.
people may be hard for them to shift me over to that. Some may be hard to see me as a minister. You see what I'm saying? Because it's
Mm.
been so divided for so long. But I think God is trying to do something different in this season.
Yes, I agree, and I've had my stories as well at my hometown church. The fact that I'm an actress and model that definitely get a stereotypical view of me and
Hmm.
questioning of salvation. It's like, what?
Hmm. Right, right.
Um,
Well, they
God.
look at it. They probably look at it as being vain or worldly. Um, but that just comes from their not understanding of what God is doing through you, and that's what the church has. That's why the enemy has been so successful, is because the ones who do have those giftings in those areas, the church drives them out to have to connect with the world to get any level of acceptance. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. He's definitely doing something special,
Yeah.
especially in these end times. Um, So tell me, okay, the last question is, what is your vision for the future of streaming?
Well, with technology shifting at such a fast rate, we have the YouTubes that popped up. We have the Facebook Lives that's popped up. Um, we have the OTT. 6, 7 years ago, OTT Netflix was not non-existent. I mean, you had to go literally had to go to Blockbuster to get a videotape, and before that, you just had to wait till it was at the movie theater, and then it was out for television view. Uh,
Mhm.
and so I think that the access to content is going to become greater and greater. But I think what's going to happen is I think all the major media outlets they're either going to have to provide spaces that meet the individual interests of people versus a buffet style. Netflix is a buffet style platform. But they're starting to not seem like they're buffet. They're starting to seem like they're more geared towards one move or one mindset. But you're gonna have to start getting away from the buffet style stuff. You're gonna have to really give content that fits into a person's worldview. I think those are going to be the streaming platforms that are going to survive, the ones that cater to a particular need or felt need or whatever. I personally think that's the way to go. The Walmart mentality, and the only way the Walmart mentality works is if the prices. I mean, but here's the thing: I don't even go to Walmart because
Mm.
Walmart, number one, I don't want to have to sift through everything to find what I want. But also the things that I really value, Walmart doesn't have them, and so I think we're going to have to shift away from that Walmart mentality when it comes to media. And I think we see that right now, and that's why I know SaltFlix is going to be successful because people don't want to go to Walmart and have their kids see whatever on Netflix by mistake.
Yeah.
They want to go where they know they're going to get what they want and stuff they just can't find everywhere else.
Mm.
And so
Wow, I
I
never
think
heard
that's
that.
the future of streaming. Yeah.
Yeah, getting away from the Walmart mentality.
Yeah, yeah,
I like that. Thank you for
yeah.
sharing that. This has been a pleasure speaking with you about all of this. I took some notes for myself. um, I'm excited actually to, get on the platform and start watching the films. I know it's plenty I have not ever seen or heard of. And excited also about the music videos and other artists that I get to look at and hear their music. And it's really exciting, to see God use people in media to create new things. That's
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah. Well, I appreciate that. And like I said, we are in our infancy stage. We're looking to grow leaps and bounds. We're looking to impact the world. That's why I say we're not even going after Christian media platforms. We're going after Netflix because the world wants platforms that aren't Netflix. They just didn't know they were available. So SaltFlix fills that space. And
Hmm.
so I'm excited for the journey. I'm excited that your company and the artists that you bring to the table are going to be a part of what God is doing through this.
Yeah, thank you so much. Tell us also how to find you, anybody that wants to connect more with you.
Well, they can email me at admin@saltflix.com, or they can call our corporate office at 404-689-4783. And of course, you can always reach us on Facebook. You can go to SaltFlix. It's the only SaltFlix you're going to find on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. It's just SaltFlix. And you can also, if you want to look me up personally on Facebook, it's James Alford. And you'll see my face right on there. So any one of those ways you can contact me. Be happy to talk to you. If there's any filmmakers, any artists out there interested in having their stuff on SaltFlix, we'd be happy to talk to you. Happy to take the time and look at your stuff and see if we can get it on there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Y'all heard it from Mr. James Alford, softflix.com. Very excited for this. Get ready for the launch. Make sure you guys submit anything that you may have, and we will connect with you guys soon.
Awesome, awesome.